our third session, and it's going to be community and student presentations. The first up is Takia Rice. She is a student of mine in my Caribbean Lit class, and she's going to be reading a poem.
Good morning, everyone. The title of my poem is Beautiful Girl. In a whirlwind of silent cries, wandering in a pool of emotion behind her eyes, lies a bit of truth tainted. And false reality society has painted that says to her, it isn't your intelligence, nor is it your elegance that makes you a perfect 10, but it's the sachet in your hips and the way you lick your lips. It's your double D's, those skin-tight jeans, and the print of what's in between that gets you seen. Ooh, shawty, that so fat. Come here, baby, when you gonna let me tap that? See, that's that you get sick of hearing. The blatant disrespect and objectification of women, and the problem starts with the world we live in. The obsession with money and sexy women outranks obtaining degrees, having careers, and setting goals. Now we have these young girls aspiring to be video exposing themselves to the highest bidder, and all they gain from it is a man that brags, yeah, homie, I hit her, and baby girl doesn't even know her truth. She's so enveloped in his lies that she offers him her youth for little to nothing at all, thinking he's going to catch her when she falls, but he leaves her hanging all alone and dry, without a bit of hope left in her eyes, as she wallows in her defeat, unsure of herself because of man's deceit, when all she had to do was understand her worth and realize that it's not a face full of makeup and a body that can be made up that makes her a unique creature, but it's her courage and her strength, how she accepts her losses and celebrates her gains, how she shows love and embraces her pain, how she thinks with her heart and feels with her soul, how she thinks everything that glitters has potential to be gold. That's what makes her beauty whole. Be a light in this world, beautiful girl.
Good morning. It is this morning still. So what Ms. Mallory is handing out to you right now is a list of just a few of the books and things that I'm going to mention, and then I have a few others that I'll give you at the end. And if you're interested, I frequently teach these writing classes privately, not through the school, on rewriting your life. I'm not a professional counselor, but believe me, writing through your issues really, really helps. Would it be okay if I close the lid of your?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay, there. All right, so my talk today is on how your personal writing can become a political action. And you ask why and how does that happen? Well, your personal writing, even if it's in a journal, even if no one else ever sees it, is a political action, because when you write, you make things real. When you get your ideas out of your head and speak them into the universe, whether verbally or in writing, poetry, acting, painting, art, they become real. And when they become real, you are making change. And when you make change, that means you are taking control of your life. And believe me, when you make choices and you make change and you take control of your own life, it is definitely a political action, especially in these times today when everyone else is trying to take control of our lives. So how many times have you heard an older person say, Lord, if I had only known then what I know now, right? Have you heard that? I've even said that. I wish I had known when I was younger how to be a better me. I wish I had had an older sister or a group of women friends or a mom who would talk to me about how to take power, how to get control of my life, and how to be better. But I grew up in the 50s when women were supposed to be seen but not heard, follow whatever the man in the house or the men in my life said to do, even if it led to molestation, never talk back, and never ask questions. So I grew up, and on top of that, I grew up in a very, very, very impoverished, poor family and society. So I grew up without a voice and was very quiet, very meek, and could not talk to anybody, very shy. But here I am today. So I didn't have these women in my life. If you have women or men friends in your lives to guide you and encourage you, that's great, and I applaud you. But I have learned along the way through some methods that sometimes, even when you have these elders in your life, you don't really listen to them. So are you? Are you listening to these people in your life? Are you really listening to their stories and trying to figure out how they're going to apply to your life and how you can be a better you? Or do you listen to them and think, they don't know what they're talking about. They're old. They're off topic. They don't understand. None of that applies to me. Well, I want you to think twice. Or are you a person whose life has been pre-planned? Did your parents plan your path? Did your minister plan your path? Did your teachers tell you, oh, you're so good at this and this and this, you should be this and this and this, and then you end up here at college doing that very thing? Well, if you're on that path that somebody else planned for you and you're happy, that's great. I'm happy for you. But think about this. Do you ever find yourself a little bit uncomfortable with your path? Do you ever feel this little tingling in the back of your mind saying that maybe this is not the right path you should be on? That maybe there's a different path? Do you ever find that this path is a little too hard, and then you keep butting up against one closed door after another? Or are you the kind of person that's here on a path and you just want to be anywhere else but here? So today I want to give you a little bit of advice on how to rearrange your path and find the path that's the true one for you. Now, for the ladies in the house, many, many researchers are telling us today that women are gaining education at a much faster rate than men. And not just here in the United States. This is worldwide. In fact, in Iran, where my husband comes from, there were so many women passing the university test that if they were allowing people in only by who made the highest grades, which they were, then only women would be in the classes. And of course, the men went berserk and said, this is not fair. So they created a new law to balance it, so that even if women were making the highest possible grades on the entrance exams, the men were allowed to enter first. And then whatever seats were left over are given to the women. But still, women are graduating from the University of Iran at a faster rate and with higher honors than any other time in their history. And most recently, the highest math award in the world was given to a woman for the very first time, and she's from Iran. So today, I want to talk to you about who you are. Are you here to get a degree because that's what you need to do, because everyone's told you go get a degree? Or are you here to really become educated? Because there is a big difference. There is a big difference between getting a degree and finding out who you are. And we need you right now to find out who you are. In my father's generation, those who are 80 and above, his generation was called the greatest generation by Tom Brokaw because they grew up during the Great Depression. And then they went on to be the heroes of World War I and World War II. My generation, those of us who were born between 1940 and 1960, we're called the baby boomers. Maybe you've heard of us. We controlled most of the money in the world. But in a recent book by Bruce Gibney, he calls us the generation of sociopaths, and that we've ruined the world for everyone else. When I first heard him talk on PBS, I was incensed. I'm not a sociopath. How dare he call the baby boomers sociopaths? But then I got the book, and I read it, and he's pretty much right, starting with our current president. Now, in all of these generations, there are nonconformists. And I'm glad to say that according to the basic sociopathic standards, I'm not one of them. Now, for all of you who are here today, well, not all of you, but for many of you who are here today, if you're between the ages of 19 and 25, USA Today calls your group Generation Z. And then author Sean Atkins calls your group the Founders Generation. Now, why would he call this young group of people here founders? They say that you know our system of government and capitalism is broken. We all pretty much know that. But you really know it. You've really seen it. You've lived it. Not like us. We created it. But you don't know yet how to fix that system. But you are the founders because you are the foundation upon which our new civilization will be built. Your generation, you have been saddled with the shadows of the last most recent recession. You lived through that, and you saw your parents lose homes, lose jobs, lose businesses, and really struggle. Some of you, because of that, may have lived on the streets or in shelters. But you will be the ones to figure out how to fix this. Your generation is characterized as being more open-minded, more responsible, more curious, more adventurous, more accepting and compassionate than any previous generation. Good for you, because we need you to be that way. I want to rename you. We need you to be the generation of survivors and saviors. That's your job. We need you to begin to change this society into a new one, ones that we old ones, if we were here 50 years from now, we would not even recognize it because it would be so good in so many ways. So think about this for a moment. Past, present, future. Where do you spend most of your time? Are you the type of person who really spends most of your day thinking about past experiences? Were you an athletic star in high school? You still playing on that? Were you a cheerleader, prom queen, really popular, really pretty, teacher's pet? You still playing on that? Or did you have traumas? Were you homeless? Did you lose family members? Are you still playing on that? Or do you live in the future? Can't wait to get that degree. Can't wait to get this class finished. Can't wait to get that job, that money, that house, that car, that family. Can't wait to get that love. Even short-term future. Can't wait for that next relationship, that next date, that next fine dinner, that next dance, that next party. And that's all you think about. Well, or like I said earlier, are you simply in the future because you would rather be anywhere else than here right now? So you're thinking about what's going to happen after right now. If you are spending even more than just a few minutes a day thinking about the past or thinking about the future, I've got news for you. You're in the wrong time zone. Look around you. Where are you? You are here right now and right now and right now and right now. You are here right now in the present moment, and there is not a thing you can do about that. If you spend too much of your time dwelling on the past or planning on the future, you know what's happening? You are missing today. You are missing what's going on right now, and we need you to be here right now. Don't believe me? Think about this. How many times have you gotten up and gotten ready in the morning and you're planning your day and you're thinking about everything to do, and maybe you're running a little bit late and you walk out of the house, get in the car, and you got the wrong shoes on? Maybe still wearing your house shoes? I've done that. I've gone to work and I teach at ASU. Showed up in my house shoes one day. Very embarrassing. Had to wear them all day long. Or maybe you've gotten out of the house or the apartment or the car and then realized that you've locked your keys in and you're stranded. Or maybe, like my husband did one day, when we were on a trip out of state, we stopped at a rest stop. He got out to go to the bathroom. I said, I'll wait. A couple minutes later, I thought, well, I'll get out and go too. Left my coat sitting in the front seat, came back, and he was gone. No car anywhere. And there I was, no coat, no purse, no phone, no ID, in an out-of-state rest stop. It took him almost an hour to come back and get me. You know what he said? I didn't realize you weren't in the car. How can you miss me? And he didn't realize I wasn't sitting in the front seat beside him in the car. You know why? Because he was thinking about the future. He was already working in his head on the job he was going to do when he got home. You know what I said? You're not driving. He was thinking about the future. I don't want him driving the car. When you're driving a car, you need to be right here, right now. This happens. We need you right here, right now. So now, for the rest of my little talk, I want to give you some writing ideas, ways of making up with your past, staying in your future, staying in your present, and planning for your future without being caught up in your future or caught up in your past. And writing it so that you can make it real. 3 major authors. First, it's on your list, Carl Greer and his book, Change Your Story, Change Your Life. He works with Jungian psychology and shamanic mysticism. Now, don't let those things scare you. It's just really, really good writing stuff. And one of the things I think this book does really well is work with you on your past. One of the examples is that he asks you to make a list of all of your family members. Start with your relationships. Everyone you know. All of your family members, dead and alive. All of your friends. All of your loves and lovers. Make a list. Make little notes about that person. And then decide, was that a good relationship or a bad relationship? Then go back and visit that list and look at it from another point of view. Look at each of those relationships from a different point of view, maybe their point of view, especially if it's a painful relationship. And then using Jungian psychology and a little shamanic leading, little mysticism there, very interesting, he walks you through how to make peace with your past, anchor yourself in the present, and get ready for the future. It's a wonderful book, little bitty short book. I've taught it as groups, but you can work through it on your own, and it's really excellent. When dealing with the past, especially with his work, I like to also refer to the work of Allegra Houston. Her work on forgiveness through writing is amazing. She teaches us that you cannot go back and change the past. You cannot change a pain. But you are 100% in charge of how you react to the past and how you react to the pain. And that is where the change comes from. She teaches us in Forgiveness Through Writing that you can forgive anyone for anything and make peace with it. Think of the most horrible, horrible thing you've ever heard of, or the most horrible, horrible thing you've ever witnessed or experienced. Through writing, you can make peace with this. You can hold this pain, sit with this pain, become familiar with this pain as if it's another being, because it is a being living inside you. And then you can invite that pain out and say, I know you're here. I know you're going to come back to visit, but you don't have to take control. It's time for you to let pain leave and you become the boss of it. Then Greer, in his book on Change Your Life, Change Your Story, goes on to ask readers to continue to make lists of various other things, places, events, times in your lives, and to look at them through pain and joy, sorrow and joy. And again, he leads you to make peace with the pain and relish and hold the joy. Number 2, Mike Dooley, one of my favorite people. I got to work with him for about 10 days about 6 years ago in Seattle. He wrote the book Infinite Possibilities. He says that we are only limited by our imagination. If you've been told in your life that you should look a certain way, walk a certain way, talk a certain way, be a certain way, then it's time to change. Remember, you are in control of all of that. You do not have to listen to what anyone else has to say to you. It's up to you to make those decisions. And if you're listening to those voices, then you're stuck on a path that has been already prescribed and set for you. And it is time for you to take a step off that path and make a new path for yourself. Mike tells us one of his strongest things: thoughts become things. Now think about that a minute. Your thoughts actually manifest in the universe as reality. Have you ever heard that prayer works? Well, it really does. Not just because you're faithful. I can show you scientific proof. Scientific proof. They had a group of people, 2 groups of people, 2 separate studies, very highly scientific studies. One group of people went into a room where there's plants, and the plants were all treated the same under exact scientific conditions. Everything is perfectly, exactly the same. One group of people walked in, and the plants are all set off so the people can't interact with them, so nothing from their bodies can get on the plants. They just walked in, and through a glass window, they looked at the plants. No one spoke to each other. No one said a word. But that group of people sat there and looked at those plants and thought loving, wonderful, kind thoughts. They looked and thought how green those plants looked, how beautiful they were, how healthy. They remembered wonderful things about plants and natures. And then we saw that those plants grew much faster than normal. They just went crazy. The exact same plants, exact same conditions, exact everything. And the group of people thought horrible things about those plants. They thought to those plants, you're ugly, you're awful, I hate you, you just dry up and die. I hate plants, I hate everything about plants, you're just horrible. And just any mean thought that they could think, they thought and aimed at those plants. You know what? Within a few days, those plants shriveled up and died. And there are more studies. This happens when you think about people. This is one of the things why I say, don't say mean things about Donald Trump. Don't wish him harm. Because your thoughts come back on you too. Wish him success somewhere else. Wish him to go kindly, gently, without harm. But don't wish him bad. It's the same argument I have when I talk to people about the Muslim ban and how Muslims are horrible and Muslims are crazy and Muslims are this and that or whatever. Pick a minority. The more you wish them harm, the more harm you will end up on yourself. Wish them good. Wish them love. You can do the same thing with the person in your life who has harmed you greatly. This goes back to Ms. Houston's work on forgiveness. Even if you still have trouble finding forgiveness for that person, wish them forgiveness. And you know what the hardest level of forgiveness is? Yourself. What have you done that you still beat yourself up over? Wish yourself forgiveness. Be a little compassionate to yourself. Thoughts are important. Thoughts become things. But more importantly, what Mike Dooley tells us is that if you want to change your life, you need to start writing it down. You need to start speaking it into the universe. Do you want to find that perfect person to fulfill your life and be a partner with you, whoever that is? Then don't just say, oh, I want a man or a woman, blah, blah. Be specific. Do you want a man or a woman who's caring, who's loving, who's supportive, who's an equal partner? List it out. List the qualities of the person you're looking for to be a partner in your life. Don't worry about how it's going to happen. Just expect it to happen. Do you want a good job? Well, what does that word mean? What does good mean? Do you want to work 9 to 5, 8 to 5, like us, and teaching 7 to 5 and later? Do you want to own your own business because you think that's easy? Well, let me tell you, my husband and I have owned our own business. I'm the main owner for over 30 years, and it's a 7-day-a-week, 24-hour-a-day job. It's not easy. So be specific in what you want. Speak it into the universe, first through writing, and then actually, like Louise Hay does in mirror work, get up in the mirror and talk to yourself and speak it into the universe. And you'll be surprised how fast these things happen. The third author I want to share with you is Jean Houston. I was very, very, very fortunate that about 4 years ago I got to spend 10 days working with Jean Houston. And then I took an amazing certification course in social artistry. And where is it? An hour down the road in Colquitt, Georgia. And I tell you, every one of you in here today, if you want to really change your life and change the world, you need to come to Colquitt, Georgia the last week of January and the first week of February every year and take the social artistry training. It is amazing. So Jean Houston created the social artistry, and there is a way to develop it, both for your society, your community, and for your personal self. So on your personal self, there are 4 levels, or 4 stages. The first level is the physical sensory level, and she asks you to write about your physical abilities, or lack thereof, and your physical surroundings, and really get in all of the sensory images you can, whether you're sitting in a room, you're sitting in a cafe, or she really encourages us to go out into nature. And really pull yourself into the moment of now by being highly aware of your physical surroundings and using sensories, images, and all of your senses. This is especially important when you're driving. If you're on the phone or listening to the radio, you tend to forget about your physical sensory needs when you're driving. But if you just take a minute to refocus on what's around you, even in this room, it immediately brings you back to the now moment where you need to be living. And then, of course, she says, write about those experiences. Go in and really pay attention and then write about the physical sensory images. This is like a daily or weekly thing, and it helps build an appreciation for what's immediately around you, and it helps draw your attention. And if you're in a time of stress, if you just take a breath and pay attention to what's around you, even if you look down and just focus on the floor and look at all the little details in the carpet, it brings you right back to the now, and it will lower your blood pressure and calm you down. The second level is the psychological historical level. This is where she wants you to write about your beliefs concerning ideas like money, society, spirituality, religion, work ethics. And when you write about these beliefs, she asks you why and where. Where do these beliefs come from? Most of us get these beliefs from our parents, and a lot of us get them from our teachers or our ministers. and a lot of us get them from our friends. But are they really your beliefs 100%? 100%. Have you changed a little? Are your parents' beliefs about race a little different from yours? Are your parents' beliefs about religion a little bit different from yours? Or society or culture? I hope that society and politics, I hope that your beliefs are different from your parents, because that's what's going to change this world and make it better. Most people, when they talk about these levels of things, one of the questions that always, or one of the topics that always comes up to me is the beliefs around money. Money as a tool. I hear constantly people tell me, oh, I'm so bad with money. I have so much credit card debt. I am a terrible money manager. I just love to shop when I get nervous or upset. It's like an addiction. Well, that's not really true. Everything you need is inside you. Everything you need to be a good money manager or to be good at any of the beliefs you find is already within you. You just need to think about them. Maybe you've never really thought about your religious beliefs or your work ethic or your money belief. So she takes you through a little series of steps to help you really deeply examine these beliefs, find out where you learned these beliefs, like who taught you about money, who taught you about sex, and I don't just mean the act, I mean the overall relationship between men and women, or women and women and men. Who taught you those things? Where did those ideas come from? And how are they changing for you right now at this age? And if they're not changing, or if they are changing, why are they changing? And what's important about that? Write about it. Get clarity on that. Really spend some time looking into yourself and investigating these things for yourself. The third level from Jean Houston's work is in social artistry is a mythic symbolic. Similar to the other authors I've mentioned, she asks us to look at our past story and to write about it. She says, though, to make a list of all of your accomplishments, starting with, I learned to walk, I learned to talk, and all the way up. Make a list of all your accomplishments. Make a list of all the travels you've made. Have you ever been outside of Albany? Have you ever been outside of Georgia? Where have you traveled? Make a list of the people you've met. Make a list of the struggles that you've had, the things that you see as struggles. And then she asks you to go back to those, and using that list, figure out who you want to be. Where do you want to travel? Who do you want to meet? What accomplishments do you want to achieve? When you write about them and speak them into the universe, they have a higher chance of happening than if you just keep them bottled up inside. Finally, Jean Houston's fourth level in social artistry is the unitive integral. This is what some of us know as the spiritual level. If you're not a spiritual or religious person, then you can still do this level very easily. What she asks you to do is to examine your spiritual, religious belief or lack thereof. Because believe me, even an atheist has some kind of belief on how the universe and life works. And what she asks you to do is get quiet. Some of us call this time prayer. Some of us call this time meditation. And some of us just say quiet time. No phone, no TV, no friends, just total quiet. And this is important, and many, many sacred texts and religious leaders say we need to be doing this 2 to 3 times a day at least. It doesn't have to be long. No one's asking you to get down and pray for an hour 3 times a day. It can just be a few minutes, but a few minutes of total, unconnected quiet to either commune with your Lord, your God, your religious belief system, the universe, or yourself. Total quiet. But then she asks you to write about it. And my friend, Matt Reddy, who last year published Revolutionary Mindfulness, and I was very glad I got to be the editor of his book. He published Revolutionary Mindfulness. He also talks about this. How many times have you prayed and then gotten up and written about it? I've asked this question of many, many, many people, and they said, never thought of that. Do it. It is extremely powerful to write about that quiet time that you just had. What questions were you putting out there? What answers did you get back? What are you working on in your life? Write it down. When you write it down, it becomes real. Also, Jean Houston says, please do a conscious practice of compassion. Compassion for others, but especially compassion for ourselves. We beat ourselves up way too much. And listening, deep listening. How many times have you been trying to talk to somebody and they keep interrupting you? How many times have you really tried to talk about a problem or an issue with somebody and they've interrupted you with advice before you're even really finished? That's not cool. That's not deep listening. Deep listening means you listen to another person, no matter what they're talking about, whether it's a problem or just going to get lunch, but you listen to them without interrupting, without thinking in your head about what you're going to say when they stop talking. You listen, and while you're listening, pay attention to their body, their needs, their values, what's under the surface of what they're saying. Then take a breath before you start talking, or ask, can I offer some advice here? Don't just assume they want your advice. Some people just want to get it out of themselves. They don't want your advice, so deep listening. She goes on to suggest other things which lead to grateful appreciation of life. And what it all boils down to is don't get so caught up in the busyness of life that you forget to live your life. And this is where you can take the time to write about it. So in closing, a couple of things that I've left off that I have actually referred to in here. Mike Dooley has an online program called Love Your Life in 30 Days. You can do it all fully online. It's wonderful. If you want to see really quick turnaround and change in your life. Another wonderful book that I love by Heather Ash Aurora is called The Warrior Goddess Training. Warrior Goddess Training. Love it.
Here's a part 2 that just came out. I got it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. And then the third thing I kind of referred to in here without mentioning is Ryan Holiday's book, The Obstacle is the Way, The Timeless Art of Turning Trials into Triumphs. Excellent, excellent book. So please, when you leave today, get your pen and paper out, go get you a journal or a notebook or even a napkin and start writing. I hope this little short talk has encouraged you to look a little more deeply at your life and the path you're on, and that has given you some ideas for rewriting your past and making peace with that, writing about the now and staying anchored in it, and writing about the future without spending too much time living in it. Because, dear ones, whether you realize it or not, whether you like it or not, you are the founders, and we really, really need you. Thank you.